It's called a comparison trap for a reason, and it can lead to depression, stagnation, or just giving up altogether. I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can stop and avoid comparing yourself to other people. But first, I want to share with you why this is important. So, I've just started this journey and I've been watching a lot of videos on how to get healthier, how to be a better person, and how to grow my YouTube channel. And so, what goes suddenly from inspiration and being inspired quickly just turns to doubt and saying to myself, I can't do this. I'll never be good enough. Around lunchtime yesterday, my daughter called, and I thought, well, this will be the perfect time to go out and take my long walk that I've wanted to do. So I got ready, forgetting that it was 87 degrees outside. We have a very hilly neighborhood, and I was going to walk the trail that I haven't walked in a long time. It's been a while. But I got started and got about a mile into it. Everything is fine. We're having a nice chat. I come to the a stop sign, and there was a mail van that was a few feet away, but they were plenty away where I thought, okay, they'll see me. So I kept going across the intersection, and he didn't stop. He kept going. And I jumped ahead and looked back. It was close enough where I could have touched the front of the van. And my adrenaline just shot through the roof. He stopped the van and got out and apologized. He was so sorry. He said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. So I continued with my walk. However, I was not fine. I started feeling sick to my stomach. I was getting lightheaded. And then I remembered I had not broken my fast yet. I had not eaten anything since 6 o'clock the night before, and here I was in this treacherous moment. My daughter, who is about 1,500 miles away, was freaking out. Mom, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'll be fine. I did have to sit down and collect myself, get the blood back to my head, doing some breathing. And so I got up and I continued to walk. Well, I still had about a mile and a half to get back to the house. And as I was going, I was walking up and down these hills, and she was on the phone with me. And I got to a point, I said, I'm going to have to stop and I'm going to have to call my stepson to come and pick me up. He was at the house. And that's what I ended up doing. And that made me, I felt so bad about myself. I was like, I can't even walk the neighborhood anymore. What is wrong with me? And he had brought me some water, and I got home. I had something to eat. And of course, I felt better in no time. But I used that experience to really start to shake my confidence. I made some videos for the recipe that I was going to share with you. Well, none of those videos turned out. And then I couldn't sleep during the night. So when I got up this morning, my motivation was gone. I just felt terrible. And I knew that it was a turning point, even this early in the journey. And that's what I wanted to share with you, that if you are trying to achieve a certain goal or you have set a certain intention for yourself, even at the very beginning, it can be hard. So this morning when I got up and I journaled how I was feeling, I did a couple of minutes of meditation, and then I said, nope, we're not giving in to this. So I got my weights, I did my workout this morning, and I did start to feel better just doing those little bit of things. So it's so important to recognize and stay on top of those moments. You know they're going to come. Those doubts are going to appear. I started, unfortunately, another thing I did this morning was looking at some videos again. I thought, okay, you know what? I'll get inspired by someone else's story. So I started pulling up the regulars that usually do wonders for me. And instead, that bully creeped back in. And she started saying, look how far everybody else is. You're never going to do this. You're not going to be able to succeed at this. You've put the weight back on. You might as well just forget it. You know, there's nothing wrong with carrying a few pounds around. You're in great health. Don't worry about it. Just let it go and just move on. You're just being silly. But I'm convinced there is a switch in your brain, an on-off switch that you can have control over. Now, sometimes it's a dimmer switch. Sometimes it doesn't happen suddenly and you have to ease into it. But most of the time, you can find that on-off switch. And that would be step one, how to stop comparing yourself to others. As soon as you feel that temptation, that doubt that says, I can never do this. I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing. Stop and flip that switch. I like to physically imagine myself flipping a switch on or off, whichever the case may be, and say, no, we're not going down that rabbit hole. I've been there before and it's not a happy place. We're not doing that. Step two would be recognizing that you're comparing your beginning to someone else's who is years or months or even days ahead of you. And that's not a fair comparison. So one of the things that I like to do is when I go and look at people's videos, I like to look at their oldest videos and see where they began. And then I'm able to say, you know what? It's not so bad. I'm doing okay. Just keep going. And that's why I'm making this particular recording at this part of my journey early on, because I want to remind myself that even a few days can make a world of difference. And I'll look back at this video in a year from now, maybe 6 months from now, and say, look how far you've come. Step three is I like to remind myself that we are all unique individuals. We all are taking a very different journey. My journey is not going to look like anybody else's. So no matter how you look at it, it's not a fair comparison because we're all doing this differently. But I'll fall into this trap. Well, I'll start telling myself, well, I need to count my macros. I need to be doing this exercise, or I need to be doing it this way. I need to cut out these carbs. I need to avoid sugar, and I need to on and on and on. Do you know what the only thing that I should be doing is me? Just be me. And that's all you should be doing is being you. Your journey is going to look different than mine. So then why share this? Because this is a record of what I'm doing and to encourage you to find out what works for you. How can you make the most progress? Now, I may not get there as quickly as somebody else, but you know what? It's not a race. We are not racing. There's no finish line. The only finish line is the one that I put in my mind and put on my plan. So that should be where my focus should remain, is where I'm going. Step four is to just step away. I didn't keep looking at the videos. I closed my phone, I closed my computer, I went outside, got some fresh air, took a little brief walk, and cleared my head and let myself just breathe and be in my own space rather than trying to wiggle my way in or share space with someone else. If you're at work and you're comparing yourself to someone else on the job, then maybe just get up and leave the room if that's possible. And remember that you are exactly where you're supposed to be at the moment. And just to focus on your progress and how can you best get to where you want to be. Number 5 is to guard your thoughts. When you start hearing that bully voice that reminds you of your past, that says, well, I've never done it that way, or I have failed so many times. And that's what our bully voice likes to do. They like to look back and show us all the ways that we have failed and messed up and remind us of all our mistakes. But you have the ability to address that voice in a kind and gentle manner and say, no, thank you. We're not doing that. I have just as many, in fact, lots more successes in my past than I do mistakes. And that's where I'm going to put my focus. Yes, I gained the weight back, but you know what? I did lose it. I have lost weight in the past. I have been in a healthier place in the past. I have done A, B, and C for myself that resulted in huge successes. And I'm going to focus on those as well as the future successes that I have planned for myself. We're not going to be held back by our mistakes. I feel better now. I hope you do too. So I hope that you'll please take a moment to like and subscribe this video and leave a comment if you feel inclined to do so. And come back tomorrow. I'm going to share 3 ways that I have set myself up for success. We're going to stop looking at that comparison trap and focus on the milestones I've set for the future. So have a great day, and I'll see you then.